Hey guys, it's me, Glitchy Green, and yes, this is going to be another chapter for Sky. And like some of you were asking, you wanted me to update, so I'm gonna try and update today. And it's been so long, so I forgot most of the voices I did, but I many voice I, I suck at the voicings, but you know what? It doesn't matter right now. You guys want the Sky Ben Drama Story Chapter 9, so here we go. Trying to make it sound all formal. Chapter 9. Lasky's point of view. Tell us where she is. Oh, hold on. Sorry. Tell us where she is. He snapped a bit louder than usual. Sorry about the voice. Meredith was strapped to a chair. I could see the fear in her eyes, but Wendy is pretty terrifying when he's angry. The girl did a good job hiding it, though, and shook her head, which was something probably trembling. Don't make me kill you, Jack warned, inching closer to her. Fine, kill me then, but you'll never find her if you do, she yelled. Jack groaned and turned away from her. She's not helping, he asked. Jack, calm down. I'm sure we will find them soon. Lindy tried to reassure him. When? Jack snapped. It's been a month and still they're gone. Lindy sighed. We are interrogating Meredith for about the 100th time since Sky, Ben, and Jeff has disappeared. Some of us were starting to lose hope. What if we killed her mother? I spoke up. Everyone turned to stare at me, then at Meredith. She looked down, tears forming at her eyes. I couldn't help but feel a tiny bit sorry for her, but she was the one trying to destroy us. I can't believe Sky's become one of you. Mother it is, then, Jack concluded, picking a knife from the table. Meredith's expression changed from brave to scared. Sorry, guys. Um, no, she pleaded. I'll tell you everything you need to know. Jack smiled under his mask, setting the knife back down on the table, and so did I. Sky had become one of my best friends. She was family now. She was like a sister to all of us. She liked everything we all liked. Like Slindy, she loved wandering the woods and reading. Like Ben, she loved video games. Like me, she loved cheesecake. She was definitely just as insane as Jeff. And like Hoodie, well, there has to be something. Where are they? Jack repeated, Meredith sighed. Well, the potion I threw was supposed to kill them. Me and Ash had drunk it with Chex syrup so it wouldn't affect us, but Ash kept kicking his legs while Jeff was holding him, so the leaves that went into the potion made it do something else entirely. Which was, Hoodie spoke. I'm not completely sure, but it transported them somewhere you can go by foot. She's somewhere you can't go by foot. Sorry, she added darkly. Any idea where they might be exactly? I asked. She shook her head. There are several places where they might have gone, but I suppose for the kind of trees you have in those woods, it just might be a maze. Several mouths dropped open, including mine. We had been in a maze for a whole month. What do you mean, maze? Jack asked. I mean a maze, she said sarcastically, earning some glares from a few of us. It's not truly enormous, but it's huge, and it doesn't have an end. It doesn't go on forever, but if you go too far, you'll get to a certain point where it takes you back to the beginning. Like it's on a loop, basically. And how would they survive in there? There's a beach with fish, a lake or two, and there are toads of rabbits and pigeons, all sorts of things. Also a few trees with fruit and stuff. Alright, Slendy said. What about water? The lakes are freshwater, sometimes it rains, she replied. Right. And how do you suppose you get them out? Jack was starting to lose his temper again. I had never seen him so determined and worried in my life. I I don't know, she said quietly. It was never supposed to be like this. As far as I know, there's no way out once you're in. I thought for a moment. Shouldn't Slendy be able to teleport them out if he got in there? Slendy? I whispered. He nodded. I wanted to talk and ushered me out of the living room, leaving Jack hoodie and smiles interrogating. Miss P and Sally were already sleeping. What is it, Masky? I always thought this was man. What is it, Masky? Do you think if you got into the maze, you could teleport them out? I asked. He raised his eyebrows and headed back into the living room, leaving me without an answer. Meredith seemed to have heard our conversation. Teleporting out of the maze won't work, she said. It's another dimension completely. It's not even on Earth. What planet? What planet is it on then? Buddy asked. It isn't on any planet, Meredith said. It's just there. So, what are we supposed to do now? I said, losing my own patience. I started, I had started having freaking night migraines ever since Sky's been in the maze. It's probably just stress. Can't get them out, but they can get themselves out, she said. There was suddenly a spark of hope between us. What is it? Well, the only way they could get out is if they recreated the potion and made themselves, she said. You do know the ingredients, don't you? Meredith nodded. The throbbing pain in my head came back again, and I closed my eyes tightly before it went away. Is there any way to communicate with them and tell them that? Asked Hetty again. My voice can reach them, Meredith said. Perfect, I thought. Sky's point of view. Shit! I cursed loudly as the pain in my head comes back again. What was happening to me? I had started having these horrible headaches lately, and they were no painkillers. It was torture. Jeff patted my back lightly as I held my head tightly, waiting for the pain to go away. Ben volunteered to get some more water from the lake, as the sea was a bit rough today and no one was in the mood for sandy water. Plus, he said the walk would do him good. Hungry again? Yes. I couldn't help but nod slightly as pain moved away. I didn't know what was happening. I wish we had painkillers, I said, removing my hand until the pain came back, making me slap it against my forehead again. I know, he said. It was a very com- comforting. But then I was having a migraine. No one was comforting. Sky was darkening and Ben had returned. We were talking about the most random subjects. Then we heard a voice. It was Meredith's voice. Sky? She called. She sounded scared. Meredith? I sat up. So did the other two. Jeff immediately had a grim expression on his face. She breathed deeply. I didn't know where the sound was coming from. Maybe the sky. It definitely wasn't coming from any direction. I could just hear it. Sky, she called again. I can't hear you, but if you can hear me, I want you to listen carefully and remember these ingredients. These are the ingredients to the potion that will get you out. I was ready to write the ingredients in the sand, but what if it was a trick? I heard a slight pulse and fumbling. Then I heard Masky's voice. Keep going. Yes, snapped. Masky! I cried. Shh, Sky, let's hear what she has to say, Jeff said. I just started listing ingredients to her potion to make us home, to bring us home. We believed she wasn't playing a trick on us when we heard Masky's voice and Meredith's scared tone. We worked together to write everything she said in the sand, and she was speaking quite fast, but we got it all in the end, and every singly one of these, oh sorry, that's what it says, and every single one of these things were present in the maze. The next morning we got to work on the potion. I grabbed the pen as I pulled a large spike from my foot. It was bleeding violently. Why the hell did sea urchin have to be on the list? I complained. Ben only laughed. I glared at him. He obviously didn't know how uncomfortable it was to walk with a hole in your foot. It's okay. There's only a couple more things, he said. What are they? Uh, well, there's blood, so guess it kind of lucky he stepped on that airship, I said, making next to me. Oh shoot. Guys, I am out of it today. I am so sorry. And then here I am getting off the topic and not reading the story guys wanted. Okay, back to the story. Jeff sat next to me, holding the bucket underneath my foot. I started to have my foot up, letting the blood trickle into the bucket. It was a deep cut. It stung badly and bled a lot. Um, almost done, Ben said, standing up, observing the list we wrote down in the sand. We filled the writing with dirt to make it look clearer. Though there were only a couple things left, including leaves, which has to be added now, we assumed. I'll go fetch the last things, Ben said, walking into the maze. How would I get the leaves? I said, starting to get up, the stinging pain on my sole of the foot making it hard, and I ended up falling onto the sand again. Jeff only laughed. I was unexplainably humorous lately. It's okay, Sky. Yeah, standing up. They're just leaves. I'll go get them. And you stay here and make a sandcastle. Ha! I laughed sarcastically. Well, maybe I will. I dragged myself to my feet, well, one foot, and went next to the sea. I hadn't really taken the time to realize how just beautiful it looked. The sunlight glistened off the surface of the bright blue water, which was getting darker, deeper in. The sky was a bright baby blue. Unlike the cloudy grayish color, it was normal. I sat on the shore, the waves racing to reach my feet, which stung horribly, so I pulled back up my left leg. I took a pile of sand in my hands. Jeff had taken the bucket to make the potion in, so I had to make the sand castle with my bare hands. I wetted a little and started patting more and more on top of each other. Eventually it got too damp and I wiped it out frustrated. I patted once more, adding less water this time. I made a little note and allowed the water from the sea to fill it out whenever the wave came. I was quite gifted with these sort of things. I tried to make the sandcastle as fast as I could with my bare hands and all. Jeff came and just stared at me, open mouthed. I told you to make a sandcastle. He laughed. I didn't think you'd actually do it, and it's a pretty good one as well. Thanks, I said, patting the sides a little, then standing up to admire my work. My masterpiece. If only we could take a picture of it, Ben said, jogging over, but tripping and landing face fast and landing face first into my sandcastle. No! I moaned. Not my sandcastle! Jeff rolled his eyes at the two of us. You guys are such children. That's why you make a perfect couple. I looked at him strangely. Thanks, Jeff. That's nice of you. He gave a smile and walked away. And, oh, and the potion's ready, by the way, he called. Ben, get up, I said, splashing sandy water on him. He sat up, making a disgusted face, which cracked me up again. Did you just throw out sandy seawater in my mouth? He said, spitting it out. I nodded, still laughing. He stood up and splashed me with some more water of his, causing me to back away. Guys! Jeff shouted. Oh, come on, Jeff. Have some fun, I yelled back to him. I could almost feel his glare and rolling of his eyes. Well, Jeff, fine. I'll go home on my own. Jeff, lighten up, Ben said. For once, have some real fun. Jeff crossed his arms, watching us sternly. We dropped our heads and went over to him, like two children who just got caught sneaking cookies from the cookie jar. Just for the record, I used to do that too when I was little. We had fun today and the past couple days, he said. Now let's just go home. If the if the potion works, Ben pointed out. If it doesn't, I don't mind staying here for another 2 months because I am not purposely stepping in another urchin, I said. Whatever. Let's just go, Jeff said, taking the bucket, which had the mixed potion in it, and poured it onto the ground between us. We all stood in this triangle, and greenish liquid in the middle. It started smoking, then bubbling. Then we felt the familiar wind which transported here in the first place. It was lighter this time, but extremely strong. I'm kind of gonna miss this place, Ben said. I know, right? Me too, I agreed. I guess it was nice by the beach and all, Jeff said. I punched his arm jokingly. I quickly grabbed my bag and my shoes and braced myself. This time I wasn't knocked out by any branches, so I witnessed the whole thing. Suddenly I was swept off my feet and by the wind and carried back a long way. It was like being stuck inside a narrow tornado, except without all the dust. The wind was transparent but blurry. The outside turned from green, gold, and blue to just bright blue. It made me feel like I was being carried across dimensions. Maybe I was. We all landed with a small thud in the familiar woods. The mansion was supposed to be just about 2 minutes away. I stood up, as did Ben and Jeff. I felt a wave of relief coming over me. Wave? Get it? Never mind. It still smelled the same. It looked the same. And there was the trap that Ben was working on before Meredith attacked. I gave a huge sigh and ran over to hug my two companions. They hugged back, smiling like idiots. It was so good to be back. Well, what are we waiting for? Let's go, Ben said. We all ran as fast as we could and burst into the living room. Meredith was strapped to a chair with the whole gang crowding around her. Their faces lit up as I dropped my bag and everything I was holding. I held out my arms, embraced Masky in a huge hug. He looked relieved to see me and hugged him back tightly. I gave him a kiss on the cheek and moved to hug Jack. Masky rubbed the back of his neck and stared at the ground. Being telepathic has its advantages, so I knew he was blushing under his white mask. After I had hugged and kissed everyone in the whole room and made almost every single one of them blush, I collapsed on the couch along with Jeff and Ben. Where the fuck were you? Jackie yelled in happiness. I signed and oh, I signed and out my hand to my forehead, laughing my head off. By the way, I did not mean to say that sentence so angrily. I meant to do it in happiness, but I guess, like I said, I'm off today. Second day of school and all that. I hate it. That was one heck of a holiday, I said, Ben and Jeff nodding in agreement. We told them the whole story of everything that had happened. It took all the energy out of us, and in the end we were completely drained. I'm hungry, I announced. I have cheesecake, Mesky yelled. Yay! I ran into the kitchen, placing myself a big slice. The others were simply laughing. I think they must have had a big breakfast, seeing me weren't hungry. But I missed cheesecake, along with everyone else. I missed you too. I missed you, I said, my slice of cake, stuffing it in my mouth. Masky watched me amusedly. My God! You guys had a blast, didn't you? He said. I nodded. It was a really eventful month, but I'm just so glad to be back. I walked back into the living room after I finished the cake, which was less than a minute probably, with Masky watching in amazement. Guy? Lenny began. There are some creepypastas you haven't met yet. I've told them about you during your absence, and since you're back, I think they want to meet you. I raised my eyebrows. Okay then. Into the living room came two creepypastas I would recognize anywhere. So you're Sky. I'm Jane, she said coldly. Jeff glared at her. What are you doing here? He spat. I just wanted to meet the new girl. That isn't a crime, is it? She said. I instantly disliked her. by the tone of her voice. I knew her story, but she didn't have to be so mean to me. What did I do to her? Hi, I said. I didn't really know what else to say. I wasn't scared of her. I could take her on easily. I was just bad with meeting people. She held out her hand, and I hesitantly shook it. You probably know Silver, Luigi said, gesturing to the second creepypasta. He was paper white. His eyes were black and red cinches, whatever that says. He was he was wearing a bloody white hoodie, a white cap, and he had no arms. Of course I recognized him. There was really no hand to shake, so I did a little waving gesture. He forced a tiny smile onto his face, and I made a mental note to try and cheer him up later. Well, that's it, Lindsay said, leaving the room, probably to go to his study or freak out a teenage girl or something. Jeff and Jane were glaring daggers at each other. Silver was staring at the ground as usual, and the rest of us were observing the awkward scene. Okay, you can go now, Jeff said nastily. Jane, her expression still fierce, jumped out of the room, probably disappointed I wasn't immortal. Jeez, something was wrong with that girl. People got busy with something and they didn't notice Meredith, who was still strapped unconsciously to a chair. I sat in the chair beside her, staring at my best friend, who was now against me. And now I'm planning to destroy everything I had held dear. There were others, people who were in on it with her. They were going to find her, sneak out, and kill us. Or try. But the whole dark magic thing really had me on edge. I'd stopped crying though. I wasn't that soft anymore. I had been in a maze all by myself for over a month. I was forced to toughen up. I went into the kitchen to get some water. I pulled out a glass and started filling it. You're new here? New here? I heard a voice from behind me. I turned around slowly. It was Silver. I nodded briefly. Ben tells me you're always unsure of yourself, he said. Ben said that? I asked. Silver nodded. I'm not that. Oh, I'm not that unsure. I'm just not confident. What about you? Why are you so shy? He shrugged his shoulders. He still had read my story. I didn't read his story, but I did. In those 2 seconds, I stared at him. It was transported into my mind. I did, I said. His head snapped up. How? He said. Didn't Slindy tell you I could read minds? He shook his head. Don't worry, I said. I'm not snooping to anything private. Thanks, he said. He seemed really sweet. Why would he be forgotten? Why are you shy? I repeated. He looked up at me with those red orbs. I stared into them for as long as I needed. I wanted him to tell me himself. I didn't want to read his mind. He gave another small shrug. I just am, he said. I put my hand on his shoulder, reassuringly. Please don't be, I said. You seem nice. I want to get to know you better. I can't if you're shy. He smiled slightly and looked down at his feet. I knew that not many people had told him that before. I knew exactly what Ben was talking about. His staring at his feet was starting to annoy me, and it was just sad that his self-confidence was so low. I knew how he felt, and I didn't want him to become like me. I patted his shoulder a little and went back into the living room, where Ben was putting in a video game. I ran over and plopped her down next to him, snatching the controller out of his hand. I can't believe you were about to play without me, I said. Hey, I was about to call you, he resorted. I hope I haven't lost my touch, I mumbled. How do you think I feel? Ben started. I haven't played anything in over a month. I replied. I rolled my eyes and started playing. Ben definitely hadn't lost his touch, but neither had I. The battle was long, but I won eventually, leaving the others laughing at Ben. You got beaten by a girl, Jack started. Hey, I'm not just a girl, I said defensively. You're a gamer girl, Masky finished. I high-fived him, seeing as he was the only one who understood. Hi! I heard Miss Petey call from upstairs. I excused myself and followed her to my room. There was an outfit laid on my bed. It was a black leather suit. The trousers were skin tight, and the top was long sleeved. "Your new killer outfit," she said proudly. "Wow, this is a killer outfit," I said, running my hands over the shiny black leather. "It's stunning. Thank you so much." I gave her a huge hug. She giggled and put her hand on my cheek. "You look so beautiful. Now Slindy's taking you out for a teleporting lift tomorrow. So be prepared first thing in the morning. You're leaving right after breakfast." I nodded happily, giving her another hug. What was going to, what was going up, what was going up on up there? I heard screams of joy, Masky asked when we came back downstairs. I giggled and sat next to him on the couch. Miss P just showed me the most amazing outfit. "Ooh, can I see it?" "Ooh, can I see it?" Sally asked. Miss P smiled and headed upstairs again, but taking Sally's in her hair. "Can I see it too?" Ben asked. "Tomorrow," I giggled. There was a couple of ahs, but I whipped them off, laughing lightly. Snoopy was sitting in a chair watching Ben play his game. I felt sorry for him, and I knew exactly how he felt. I decided to take my mind off things and hack someone, which I haven't done in a while. I ran upstairs and quickly brought my laptop back down with me. "Hey, I didn't know you had a computer," Masky said. I sat back down between him and Ben, who was still completely immersed in his game. I turned it on I turned it on and started hacking, with Ben watching intently, and Ben looking whenever he could. I took out a piece of paper whether it had certain numbers for the most entertaining people I've ever hacked. The great thing was that the hacking was great quality, and Masky was instantly impressed when the picture came to the screen. It was a teenage boy, but he was hilarious. "Get ready to roll on the floor from laughter," I said. Masky only watched as he kept making the best jokes ever. Masky and I burst out laughing, and Ben eventually got so curious he had to pause his game. "Is this through the webcam?" he asked. I nodded. "Same way I hacked into yours," I said. "You hacked into Ben's computer? Girl, you rock," Masky said. I laughed and continued watching. "He's good, isn't he?" I said after he had left the computer and we were forced to close the tab. "Oh my, that was hilarious," Masky said between gasps for breath. "I know I can watch this guy all the time," I said. "If only I could meet him for real. He seems awesome." "Guy, wake up," I heard Ben saying. I groaned like I did whenever someone would try and wake me up and buried my head into the pillow. "You wake up," I said tiredly. He chuckled and stroked my hair gently. "Don't want to wake you up, babe, but we're going to miss breakfast if you don't get up now, and I can't afford that. Plus, Slindy's taking you right after, so you need to freshen up." I rolled over to my back, knowing that he was right. "Okay, fine," I said. I made my way to the bathroom, washed my face, tied my hair into a high ponytail, and went downstairs, practically falling into the seat next between Matt, Jack, and Masky. Slindy was making pancakes. "Pancakes? Is Slindy feeling okay?" I asked. "He's just in a good mood, 'cause you're back," Masky said, spreading too much chocolate sauce on his pancakes. I took the chocolate out of his hands and poured it on mine. "Hey, give that back," he whined. "You got too much in already, and I'm not going to sit and wait for you to finish it off," I said, laying it back on the table in front of me. My mood was perfect. I just got home. I'd just taken a long, warm shower yesterday, and I was feeling great. The others were in pretty good moods as well. It was one of the best days of the Creepypasta household. Everyone was doing anything they wanted. No one bossing anyone about, humming jolly tunes as they talked to each other about various subjects, having a laugh here and there. It was like Christmas at a normal house. Everyone was happy. "Guy, are you ready?" "Slendy's downstairs," Miss P said from the other side of the door. "I'll be right there. I'm just putting on my shoes," I said. I looked in the mirror, admiring my new outfit, and opened the door. Miss P looked at me up and down and took my arm, twirling me around. "Gorgeous," she said. I smiled. "Now go." I headed down the stairs, Slendy waiting for me in the living room. "I'm ready to go," I said, peeking around the door. Everyone turned to look at the new outfit I was wearing. I heard a few whistles and cheeky comments. "Damn," I heard Jack's voice. Suddenly hit the back of his head slightly, but I had to smile a little. Mansky, Jeff, and Hoodie were staring at me with open mouths. I raised my eyebrows and they snapped them shut. Silver gave me a thumbs up face, and Ben gave me a grin and wink, which made me blush. I gave a small wave and turned to leave, the boys commenting even more when they thought I was gone. I rolled my eyes at them and accidentally shut the door calmly behind. It seems you've had quite an impact on the boys since you came, he said. I burst out laughing. Sonny looked at me like I'm some sort of nutter. Maybe, I laughed. He stopped right after the mansion. You didn't have to wear this, you know, he said. I know, but I'm going on a killing spree afterwards with Jeff, I said. Good. Anyway, let's get started, he said. Took out some hoops. They were brightly colored and laid them out on the ground. I want you to stand in this one, he said, gesturing to a neon yellow colored one. I obeyed and stood in the middle of the hoop. Close your eyes, he said. I did as he said, and I want you to go into the green one without moving. I concentrated hard, picturing the green hoop. The tricky part was that I didn't know where the hoop was. Picture it in your mind. Make it clear. The mere thought of it will transport you, he said. I pictured it on the ground. I took a few deep breaths. I felt a rush and breeze hitting me in the face. I opened my eyes and found myself in a green hoop. Perfect, he said, clapping his hands together. I looked around me. The other hoops were gone. Now, close your eyes. Again, and go to the blue one. I tried closing my eyes, but landed right outside the blue hoop. We continued about this for a long time. Lindy determined to get me to go at least 3 meters away. Eventually I got it done, and it became easier. I want you to practice whenever you get the chance, he said, patting my back as we entered the house again. I nodded and went upstairs to fetch my knife. I looked in the mirror and decided to add something to my appearance. I thought of something sad, something very sad, the saddest I could imagine. It wasn't hard, considering I've had a lot of bad things happening to me in my life. The blood started trickling down my face. Perfect. I was just about to turn and leave when something in my mirror caught my eye. The normally brown eye color had turned a bright red. Wow, even better! I ran downstairs, jumping in from at the door. Guy, have you been crying? He asked. No, this is just to scare them, I said. Oh, well, that's really good. And the eyes are brilliant, he added. Thanks, now let's go, I said, ushering him out the door. He smirked at my enthusiasm. We walked around the town a bit, finally finding a good house. I didn't know anyone who lived there, so I was fine. We entered the window. Jeff told me to watch and learn. So I watched from the window. It was a teenage boy's room. Jeff walked over to him. He was laying on his bed, sleeping. He clapped his hand over the boy's mouth. He immediately woke up and started panicking. Shh, Jeff said. I rolled my eyes at his originality. Go to sleep. And after he was done with the boy, we got going. Dad thought it would be fun for me to try someone in the woods. There had to be someone. What was with the rolling of the eyes? He asked. It was so original, I said. Well, you're still a beginner, he said, and that kill wasn't exactly one of my greatest. The least I could do was use my catchphrase. I chuckled as we entered the woods. There were two teenage girls, both of them in pink. Ugh, gross. That's one of the grossest things I've ever seen, I said. Jeff nodded in agreement. Blondies. I'm going to enjoy this, Jeff said. Me too, I said. I knew I could do this in time. I closed my eyes and pictured the woods. The girls were where they were. Us where we were. And before I knew it, I was standing about 5 meters away from the girls behind a tree. One of them saw my bloody red eyes and screamed. I closed my eyes again and appeared behind them, but I mean to close them. The other one turned around and they locked arms, staring at me. Girl number one's point of view. I locked my arm in Lily, both of us staring at the girl. She was behind us now, and her eyes were bright red, almost glowing, like bloody tears, with bloody tears falling from them. I couldn't say anything, and Lily didn't say anything either. The girl just stared at us, then as if we were looking at something behind us. She grinned. My heart beat faster and faster, and I felt Lily's arm tighten against mine before she fell to the ground. I looked next to me. Someone had slit her throat. I screamed and looked back to where the girl was. She wasn't there anymore. I looked back to where Lily was lying, and I found the girl standing in my face. I screamed again and stepped back, more scared than ever now. The girl was kind of pretty. She had long dark hair tied in a side to a side fishtail braid. It wasn't clear what color because it was dark. Her red eyes were very clear, though. So was the blood from her eyes. She had black lipstick and she was wearing a black leather suit. It was a pretty cool outfit, but now all I wanted to do was run. I turned to run, but she caught me, holding her knife into my throat. Tears fell down my face as she smashed me against a tree. I fell to the ground, whimpering and sobbing. She kneeled down next to me, her knife still to my throat. I couldn't stop crying. My best friend was just killed right in front of me. Then from behind her, I saw a boy. His hair was black and he was wearing a white hoodie with blood on it. His eyes were wide when I realized he had no eyelids, and he had a smile carved in his cheeks. I thought he was going to help me, but he seemed to be on the girl's side. She tilted her head, looking at me strangely while I was crying. She said, her voice calm, but it still made me uneasy. It's okay. Guy's point of view. I didn't think I was that scared, but this was a sissy teenage girl who had been just seen her best friend get killed. She started crying, looking over my shoulder. Her face grew all more scared, but it was just Jeff. Of course, it wasn't just Jeff. It wasn't just Jeff for her. It was Jeff the killer. I cuffed my head to the side, watching her cry. I decided to end her suffering. Shh, I said calmly. She stopped sobbing, but she was still whimpering loudly. Okay. I pressed my knife to her throat and slit it across. She jumped to the ground, tears falling from her unblinking eyes. I stood up again, pulling my knife back into a case I had attached to my upper thigh. Kind of like those ones for pistols, but it was just for a knife. As I looked at her, I found something was missing. I knelt just down again, and into her cheek carved the well-known sign of a circle with an X through it. That was better. That was easy, I said. Bonnies are always easy. Dad said. They cry over pairs of shoes. They cry over pairs of. They cry over pictures of shoes. I corrected. I can't believe I survived those kind of girls around. We kept walking, and after one middle-aged man, we didn't find anyone else except an old man. We, who we all decided to leave alone. I decided to carve the sign on all my victims, since I knew how to teleport now, and I would have a lot of victims, and I would want people to let. I would want to let people know that it was the same killer. Or was it? Jack asked. Why do you always ask? I said. I don't. This is just your first real killing story, so I wanted to know. He asked. It was really fun, I said. Good. He led me to the living room. Jack, can I just go upstairs and change? I asked. I really wanted to get out of his bloody clothes. He nodded and I rushed upstairs. I changed into a tank top and shorts and headed back downstairs. I washed out some blood I found on the tips of my hair. They were noticeable, saying that I had blue eyes. I washed from the bloody tears as my eye color was back to normal now. So I looked human. I headed back downstairs and collapsed onto the couch between Ben and Masky. Whoa, you clean up fast, Masky said. I shrugged. I guess my eyes only grow red when I'm on a killing spree. At that moment, Cindy came in the room, looking disturbed. Meredith